Ag PhD full episodes and more are now available on Acres TV, the newest ag platform connecting you to fields of information. Look for us on watchacrestv.com.
During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk a little about corn maturities. As we get late here in May or early June, we start thinking about, should we as farmers switch maturities? We want to explain that to you just a little bit today and the things we look for on our own farm.
Well, we definitely get a lot of questions from non-farmers. How do farmers pick maturity in corn? Because we hear people talk about 115-day corn, and then we hear people talk about 85-day corn. What's the big difference?
Yeah, so it's really how long is it going to take to mature. So if, let's say at 115-day corn versus the 85-day corn in Darren's example, that 85-day corn is going to be ready a lot sooner in the fall. It basically takes less heat. Corn matures based on heat, or as some people will call it, growing degree days. Now there's a really good website that you could go to if you want. You can access this right off our Ag PhD website. If you just go to agphd.com under the resources tab, you can see Purdue growing degree days, and you can literally zoom down to your farm and it will show you your historic last frost dates in the spring and first frost dates in the fall, and you can plug in, hey, what's my planting date? What's my corn maturity, and how does that project over time? Will I most likely make it in the fall? Will it mature, or will it not? Because the challenge is, if it doesn't make it, the frost hits, well, now you have very light test weight corn, you have high moisture corn. It's not a good situation. You need that crop to finish out, to reach black layer, to reach physiological maturity prior to the first frost.
Well, the big thing is corn is an annual plant. So once we get that first killing frost, it's going to kill off the annual plants that just have a one-year growth cycle. And as Brian was mentioning, as corn is growing, it's feeding each kernel on that ear. And until those kernels have been completely fed and fully developed, we're at risk for frost. So farmers will adjust the planting date, but also the maturity of the hybrids they're planting to try to make sure that happens.
So this growing degree day calculation is based on the high temperature for the day, the low temperature for the day. You add the two together and you divide that number by 2, then subtract 50. Also, the highest high can be 86, the lowest low 50. So those are always the cutoffs. The issue that I have with all this growing degree day calculation thing is, well, what if all day it was 52 degrees, except for, oh, all of a sudden the sun came out, a heat wave came through for half an hour and it went to 85 degrees. I mean, is that really 85 for a high? I don't think it's super accurate, and that's one of the reasons why there is some variance there, but at least it gets a person fairly close.
Well, farmers have a lot of things to worry about out in fields, but getting the right seed with the correct maturity for when it's being planted and where is very important. And on corn, a good way they can estimate it is by looking at growing degree units and the calendar date.
So this is just one of the things that farmers have to consider every year on the farm if they want good success. But another thing is having great weed control. Can you identify this week's Weed of the Week?